I talked to some of the miners and some of the people that used to be working inside that mountain if they want to take me. And they said, if you're if you're basically ready to sign that we are not responsible for your death, then we can do it. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go.
So today, Mary and I are really excited to be talking to Simon Felber. He is an amazing travel photographer and filmmaker, and we are super excited to learn more about his passion for storytelling. So welcome to the podcast, Simon.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate the opportunity and I can't wait to share more about my story and yeah, chat with you guys.
Yeah, we're super excited. So why don't we start off by you kind of introducing us? Tell us where you're from, how you got started with travel, filmmaking, and photography.
As a quick introduction of myself, I am from the south of Germany. I'm now 23 years old and I started in the realm of first photography and then filmmaking during my studies, which I also passed in Germany and that I recently graduated. And already during my studies, I got more into travel filmmaking as also like through exchange semesters, and then after my studies themselves allowed me to travel more and like basically leave Germany. So I spent a year in South America, and that really shifted my approach towards more responsible storytelling, more out of the box storytelling, and trying to encourage people to change their perspectives on how to travel and how to interact with people, how to interact with cultures. And this is also kind of my mission, what I want to do. And here I am getting into the full-time travel space in the last 6 to 8 months and figuring this out. And I would say things are going well, better and better. And I can't wait to talk more about this part of the journey as well.
Yeah, that's so amazing.
I know, I can't wait to hear more about your travels and adventures. But what are some of your current projects you've been working on?
Current projects that I've been working on, I need to think what I can talk about already. But I think there's one. I'm going on travel to Guinea Conakry in December, which is a country in West Africa where I'm going to produce a short film about women entrepreneurs in this business ecosystem in the city, and how women entrepreneurs can be empowered to break barriers and build their dreams for kind of more prosperous Africa, and how others can do the same thing. So we are going to go there and meet those women leaders and capture their story within a short film format.
So is that kind of what you would say your niche is within filmmaking, like focusing more on like more just smaller groups of communities and activisms, telling more stories?
Yes, so I wouldn't say niche, but I would rather say I'm a very value-based filmmaker, and I want to tell some kind of stories that follow this certain set of values. And whenever there's something out of the box coming my way, or like cool, like when people have cool ideas and when people have ideas of telling stories about places from a different perspective, that is usually always where I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm in.
That's amazing. Do you have like a favorite story film you've told over the past couple years?
There have obviously been several very educative and great projects that came my way that I'm really grateful of having participated in. I think one really key experience of traveling was when I was in Bolivia, where I produced a little short film, basically just for myself, about documenting people that are working in a mine in Bolivia in conditions that are still basically like they were a couple of 100 years ago. So it's really horrible. And talking to these people inside the mine, going inside with them, seeing how they work and seeing the work environment, seeing or hearing about stories of, I think literally hundreds of miners still dying in just that mountain every single year, which is highly dangerous. Having the opportunity to go inside and capture this and talk to these people there, and being able to bring that story out in the world and build awareness about those kind of living situations and change perspectives, and also just try to cover a different side of the world and make people maybe appreciate food that more and what conditions they're living in. That was the goal with this story, and it resonated really well. Something that was really shocking was that I talked to some of the miners and some of the people that used to be working inside that mountain if they want to take me. And they said, if you're if you're basically ready to sign that we are not responsible for your death, then we can do it. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's go. And we went into this mountain, and he obviously tried to explain you different things about their culture and their living conditions. And we went through the mining town beforehand, where you see where those people live and where you can buy dynamite on the street, which we did. So we bought like a pack of dynamite, and then we drove up the mountain, and also had different opportunities of entering that mountain. So either you can go like in the more, let's say, smaller, older tunnels, or you can go in the big tunnels. And we went into one of the smaller ones because I really wanted to see the people working in, let's say, the traditional conditions and really see how it is for those men. And we went inside, and first you're just in darkness, right? So there's no light. There's a tunnel that is not secured, that there are no technical any means of helping those people. So when you walk inside, you slowly hear like a raising voice of one of those full carts with 1 ton of stones in that cart coming towards you. And then the guy was saying like, okay, we have to hide now. And so you have to hide in one of those little sideways in the tunnel. And you hear those guys passing. And the thing is, in every modern like mining environment, that happens automatically. But these people have to push it. So they go in and out the mountain and push like 50 or 60 carts a day with 1 ton of stones, filling up, getting that out there with just like hand labor. And so we went like further into, obviously, to see these people working, because somehow those stones have to get into the cart, right? And have to be separated from the mountain itself. And there we learned a lot more about how dangerous it is to actually work in this environment and see them like literally with a pickle and an axe standing there. And like it felt like going back 300 years. And then we encountered that was, I think, the most shocking of all. We encountered a group of 6 or 7 younger guys, and the group leader was like 23 years old, which is as old as I am now. Like, this is insane. And he said he was there for 4 or 5 years. And we tried to talk to them a little bit more through our translator. And I also, with my like limited Spanish at that time, asked some questions. And then there was that one guy, and I was like, hey man, I'm so sorry to ask, but you look so young. Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, just looking at me, and he didn't like, he couldn't really talk. He was maybe exhausted or just still in a condition of shock. And then the group leader, he took me away, and he told me like, that's a sensitive topic for now, because his dad literally died in the mountain the month before, and there's nobody taking over the family, and he has to like, he's responsible for getting money for the family or getting food for the family right now. That's why he has to go and replace his dad, and has to work in a mountain now for 14-hour shifts, and that's his life. And he's 14. This was something, when you're there and suddenly you feel like the most privileged human on earth, having the audacity to go in there with the camera and not knowing anything and capturing those kind of people and their stories. That taught me a lot about how to tell stories in a more respectful way, and how to approach people, and how to talk to people, and that getting the shot with the camera or photographing that person or whatever, that is not the main goal. You should never be so egoistic as a photographer to go somewhere with the goal of saying, hey, I want to just capture local people, I want to get some nice shots and then leave. But your main reason, and that is what I learned in precisely that moment, the main goal should always be to tell a story and to meet those people actually. And you just meet those people when you show curiosity, when you show interest, and when you first and foremost show respect. And that respect is just going to be built when you spend some time and not put their camera in the face in the first moment. It's a very private thing, actually. And the least you can do is approaching and being respectful and being interested, and first and foremost also giving something back. You can never ask something for something if you didn't give something before. So whether it is showing your interest and asking for the name, or buying a small product, or spending some time, all of this is things and ways of you giving something to them. And if you feel that there's a good energy, and if you feel like this is right, and if you still feel like after that you want to take a photo of that person or a video or ask a few questions, whatever, then you can ask something from them. This is what I really try to incorporate into my storytelling, that I always know that I have to give first before I can ask for something, and then they will start sharing, they will start open up, and in the end you will have a memory that you connect to. Like eventually when you ask for a photo in the end or something like that, you have such a precious and such a deep and inspiring experience and memory that you connect with those photos, that they suddenly mean way, way more. And when they mean more and you put them out in the world and you have a story to tell with it, that will inspire even more people with it. And that's like the connecting dots with the power of storytelling and the power of photography, of a different life that we have, and we come in there as invaders. So let's take a step back and learn first before we start capturing it, and then there will be way more meaning behind the story. If you don't show respect to people by just taking their story, it's also, a photo is something very personal. You capture someone's face, you capture someone's emotion, and with that you capture someone's personality. And this is nothing that should be popularized, or that should be just taken for granted. And that person has to give you the permission to do this.
That's really good. I think they appreciate more if, like you said, if you're showing interest in their lifestyle and what they're selling, they see that you're not just there for an Instagram photo. They see that you're actually there to tell their story.
Exactly. And then you need to build the trust for them to let you tell the story, like you're asking for their story. Their story is something super deeply personal, and
right.
This should not be like, hey, can you tell me your story? So
yeah. Hi, I'm Simon. Can you give me your life story?
I'm not a filmmaker, although I would love to be, but I think it's important for people to recognize, like, this is not a normal thing in their life that happens day to day. So it's so important to communicate that, like, this is, part of my culture, and the reason I'm doing this is so I can, inspire people through your stories. If they get fired up and excited about you sharing their story with the world, and they're like, oh my gosh, I would love people to hear about my culture, then again, that's like another green flag.
Yeah.
I feel like it's best to first explain in depth about your passion and why you're doing what you're doing, and why the good, that you want to do.
100%. Like just being educated about where you're going for before, and what are the customs there, and what are people like there, and how you, showing respect also with this. There's so many things coming together, and then taking those other people into account as the humans that they are, and not going there for egoistic purposes of wanting to take your picture. And as I said, like what you get out of it is a way more meaningful, more powerful story. Because there's suddenly a backstory, and there's a personal memory connected to it. And I believe people see that in your photos and in your videos too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm just curious if you, after you've been to these communities and established those connections with them and shared their stories, do you stay in contact with any of them? Or is there times where you've, stayed in contact with them in some way, or followed up with them, or shared what you created, or anything along those lines?
Actually, for one time I did. It was just super beautiful, and I'm planning to return to more places, obviously, and see those people again. One specific example is when I was in Brazil last year in July, and I made a little documentary about a fisherman that is suffering from let's say unstable heart, and he loves his job so much. He loves the ocean, he loves the sea, and sometimes because of his health issues he cannot go out on the sea anymore, and he cannot go fishing, and he does it really in a traditional, respectful way, and you really feel like from the moment you meet him, you know his passion, you feel his passion. And then I I made this documentary and I sent it to him, and he was super happy about it, and he loved it, and he shared it with his whole community, and it got it got shared, I think, even on the radio, on the local radio there in Brazil, which was super cool. And then the year, or like I think 7 months later, I returned, and I heard from him again. I unfortunately didn't meet him in person, but a mutual friend that we were traveling with, we were on the phone together, and he said that he's better now. He had some tough times and was in the hospital, but he thinks about that documentary, and like it was just so empowering for him to see his story captured, and he it felt like he was really grateful for this, and it really gave him some energy. So if I was able to help also with that, and not only inspire and empower other communities with the stories, but also the community and the people itself, by giving them confidence and by giving them, something personal for them, because in the end, this is like a gift for him, and a gift of his story and his connection to the sea, and him opening up meant a lot. So having that feedback and coming back and seeing him doing better with his health has been amazing.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. That makes me so happy to hear. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and it's so cool that you've been able to kind of use your career to make these friendships all around the world, because it's just like, that's so cool. I don't know if there's really a lot of careers where you kind of get to do that and learn all these stories about people, just how they live, their differences. I think you learn so much that way. That's really cool. How do you usually, like, kind of as Mary said before, how do you usually like go about finding these places and finding these people? Like, are they people that you kind of just meet through other friends, or do you seek them out, or how does that usually work for you?
I would say it's a mix between spontaneous opportunities. There's just sometimes people you come across that you're like, wow, how? And this is completely random. And you end up telling a story about it. And then there's more planned situations where you go to a place with a more specific purpose of telling a story, and then by traveling to remote places that are not really well captured yet and not really well documented, which is my goal. There you never really know who or what you come across, and even if you have that specific goal, you don't know whether you're gonna get it, whether this person that you want to talk to is currently there, or it's never really sure what happens. But yeah, I would say some things are more planned, and some things are turning into plans while being there. And that's very interesting. To share one more short story that has just been recently, which is a very good example for this. I went to a very remote village in Georgia, in the Caucasus Mountains, south of Russia, and there I met a woman, like on the side of the street, a family, and she was introducing us to her home and like spending some time with us there, which was like a super nice and local experience. And then she told us and redirected us to her brother, which was living in another village, and he was the only person staying there over the winter, as winters are very harsh, and they were currently preparing for that. And he's like a 80-year-old guy. That's the only man staying in that area over the winter. And we were like, okay, wow, this is a person we would love to tell a story about, right? So this was something that turned into a plan while being there, which is not really planned. And then we went to go see him, and obviously we didn't know whether he was there or what he was doing, or if he was even down for something like this. And we ended up like waiting for him for like an hour or two, and he eventually showed up. He was there. He came down the mountain with his horse, and then he also showed us around a little bit, and we asked him some questions and asked, for example, like, what is he doing over the winter in his little cabin, and when it's so cold, like -40 degrees and meters of snow, like what can you do? And he he went into his little in a little room, and he came out with a little box, he opened that box, and guess what was in there? It was like full of National Geographic magazines, which is fantastic, honestly.
Oh.
And give the people the voice and opportunity to tell their story through my lens is making a lot of things unpredictable, and that is the beauty behind it.
Could you share more like specific details about what the man showed you? Because I mean, he's the only man preparing for the winter here,
Right.
and I would just
Mhm.
love to hear more about what he showed you exactly, or where he took you, or what he told you about what he does every day. I mean, he's 80 years old and he's, on a horse, like carrying the whole entire village. It's amazing. I'd love to hear
It's
more about that.
crazy. Yeah, so like the village was on the slopes of a mountain, a really like scenic place where you basically have an overview of the whole valley. You can see like 30 kilometers and see the peaks in the distance and stuff. And one of the most beautiful, peaceful places I've ever seen. But it was also very clear that this village was not really inhabited anymore. A lot of those houses were ruins, and there was just him in that one house that is he was still running. And apparently he is a doctor. So he has been a doctor for all of his life for the entire region, meaning that he is kind of like going with his horse, which he, by the way, calls his horse Car. Like the name of his horse is Car,
That's amazing.
which is so funny.
I love that.
Iconic.
And this is so good. And he goes with his car horse through the different villages in the region to take care of the other people that are also either staying of the winter or in the summer, and yeah, tries to take care of them. And then obviously, as that's not really easy in winter, I don't really know how he does it, but apparently that is his job, his dedication, and he is kind of like a ranger or a myth of the region. It's like a
Yeah.
very strong character, and he was humble and he was kind and very surprised that somebody wanted to learn from him. And we tried our best to also really understand what he was saying, but it was very difficult because we didn't have a translator with us. And that was obviously limiting our opportunities to learn from him. But we recorded, and we are trying to translate this afterwards. And then also what we concluded with, or what when we said goodbye, we told him that we are going to bring him a new pack of magazines when we come back next year.
Yeah, wow. I was just like reflecting. That's a really cool story. I definitely want to go there. I've never even been to like that whole region in the world, but it seems really interesting. And I've heard that the people are just the nicest people. Like that's what I've heard about that area. So sounds like it from what you're saying.
That is so
Yeah.
true. Like everybody, even though there's a lot of alcohol involved, usually they always invite you for anything.
That's amazing.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and show you their National Geographic magazines. That's awesome.
So cute.
So he just kind of like he just loved that village. He didn't want to leave during the winter. Like everybody else was like, it's too cold, and he was like, nope, right, this is my home. I'm staying here.
Pretty much. I think he probably has a very traditional approach to life, and maybe after 80 years he doesn't want to change things up anymore, and probably everything out of that, like let's say area or valley that is behind, which means more, let's say, modern and developed area. That this is maybe something he doesn't want, and that is something I totally understand.
Honestly, I'm just so glad that you were able to meet him and hear his story. I know there's so many people that want to do what you're doing, but they're inhibited by fear. So, do you have any advice for those people? And also, could you share how you get to those locations?
I'm glad you're asking. Actually, I think a journey is always better when it's shared. So there's times where you can go solo travel, and that is very impactful and very needed also maybe for your personal development when you start traveling. And I did that for a very long time too. But even when solo traveling, on most adventures, you go with people you meet along the way. And for this case, with traveling to more remote places that are challenging to get to, maybe, or that are, where you just need somebody that you trust, or where you need a team around you or people around you that you can do this together with, that gives you a lot of security. And And yeah, that's why I think this is the way to go for those like more out of the box, crazier adventures. Always go with somebody and go with somebody you trust and like, and then it's gonna be even better.
No, I bet. Along with that though, it's hard to find people in your community that want to do that. So how do you recommend finding these people? I know a lot of people talk about hostels and Facebook groups, and there's so many different ways, but I would just love to hear about how you specifically find your groups of people to travel with and how to know how to trust them and all those things.
um, a lot happens still online, honestly. Like I think I met amazing people, especially in the creative space, in the creative travel space, online, and that is so. Yeah, it's always debatable the impact of, like, let's say social media, but one thing that is for sure good is that you can literally build connections with people all over the world that do the same thing, that are passionate about the same thing, that have a unique angle to storytelling that excites you, and you can literally just reach out and start talking and build a friendship, build a relationship. And honestly, I've made over the past year so many amazing friendships with people from all over that I now ended up building a project together with, and then going on a travel together with, and you end up even bonding better. Um and yeah, then you're not like, traveling with friends is great, and traveling with friends that you know from childhood is great, but maybe they're not doing the exact same thing as you do, and maybe they're not really down to work on a project together during travels, and they just want to make their holiday because they just have 2 or 3 weeks of holiday in the year, and that's what they have. But you need to make money with your travels. You need to, yeah, sustain a lifestyle with this, and um, that's a whole other different set of goals. So online Instagram enables you to find those people that are on the same wavelength and that you resonate with, and that you're excited about their work and they're excited about your work, and you connect, you become friends, and you end up building something beautiful together. And with that, also expand your network, right? So yeah, with being in the travel space, there's obviously also coming into play that you have to work a lot, and you have to take a lot of hours and a lot of time to build a business around what you do. And there, a network is inevitable to build. And if that is both with people on the other side of the chair, like for example, brands and partners that you would want to talk to, it is equally important to build this network with, yeah, with other creators. And that might give you opportunities as well, apart from beautiful friendships, and so much you can learn from each other.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think for me, it's always been like when I travel, I don't really like to just go travel, I guess. Like I like to have some kind of mission when I'm there. So that's kind of why I want to get more into this like travel filmmakings, because I love just like it helps me understand a place more, to be able to like tell stories and photograph it and meet the people, rather than just going and like hanging out at the hotel, sitting on the beach, whatever. That's great too, but I love having like a purpose and a mission when I go, and it's cool if you can go with people that share that exact same mission. So that's cool you've been able to find those people.
Yeah, 100% agree. Like, I don't disregard anybody, not wanting to travel more adventurously, or um, that is totally fine. And that is, yeah, I respect that totally. But obviously, it's for me going to be easier to succeed and to achieve my goals when I travel with people that have the same goals as me. And as I'm now looking into more, yeah, as we talked earlier, visiting remote places and traveling more adventurously, then having people with the exact same goals, and then also being creative and working with the camera, that is ideal. And through the online worlds, you can meet those people, and that is so cool and so powerful.
It's such a blessing to get to grow up in this time and this day and age. And I know there's so much negativity, but I feel so grateful that it connects like the whole world together and we get to see what the other side of the world's like. And I think it's so, so beautiful that we can just meet these people that are like us and outside of our
Yeah.
community and our hometown. And I just always feel so, so grateful to do that. And along with that, I also will encourage people. I know it's like more scary, and it can feel really awkward. But one of my friends, she is so so good at meeting people in person. She travels all the time by herself, but it's day one. She's already found a group of people, And she does it by, she just says, like, you just pretend like you're not scared of it. She goes up to them. She'll, like, not even just in a hostel, like on a bus, sees someone that looks around her age, or even if they're not her age, starts talking to them, just starts chatting them up. And she's gotten so good at just becoming friends with people. So she will sometimes, this is what part that I wish I could do. She was like, so what are
Mhm.
you doing tonight? Like, what if, do y'all all want to hang out or something? And then she ends up with these people, one person she met on the bus on this seat, and then the seat across from her, some other stranger, and she just connects them all together, and they just hang out, and then they'll start traveling. They'll plan a trip that time for like a few weeks later all together again. And she went to the Faroe Islands with a complete stranger. The Faroe Islands, someone she met like 2 days before, and it was so
Crazy.
admirable. And now they're
Crazy.
best friends. And then they went all over the eastern part of Europe together. And it's
So cool.
another thing is like, I think it's really important to get over that fear. And I know it's hard, I know it's uncomfortable, but it's so worth it because there's so much more amazing adventures that awaits you if you're just open and approach people like that. But I know it is in different cultures, it's definitely not very common to talk to strangers like that. But I think
Mhm.
I think there's a way you can go about it where you can really connect with them and travel and have a lot of fun together and learn from each other.
Yeah, for sure. And quickly touching on this, it's so cool when when you meet other people, when you're able to connect. And that is also, but I think highly personal. Like, you don't have to connect with hundreds of people all the time. Sometimes you also learn a lot of lessons when you travel alone. But when you're on the road and you have the goal of meeting other people, and that is something that you feel like you're missing out on, or feel like you would want to you would want to do it, then you can always go ahead. There's, especially within the travel space, when you're in hostels or within that community of being on the road, while being on the road yourself, everybody's open for this. And probably most people are waiting for, that are also traveling alone, they're waiting for other people to come up to them. And you're just being yourself and being, honest, like if you want to hang out or something like this, there's nobody going to say no. So this is something, at least I learned this. There's so much, open mind and curiosity, and people just want to have a good time, and that's, that makes it a lot easier. So
That's so true. Yeah. I think you learn that because originally you think you're being maybe annoying or creepy by going up and asking somebody something like that, but then you realize that they really wanted you to, or they were really grateful that you came up first because it's like a traveling mindset, like you said. You're there to like meet more people too, and if somebody comes up to you first, that's awesome because hey, got a new friend already. Like yeah, so just be bold and always all usually works out for the best. I have a quick question. So I actually found you because of I think I chatted with you like a long time ago on Instagram, but I found you because you were doing those Selena programs. Um, and so I was wondering if you could kind of like tell us a little bit about that. Like, how was your experience with the hostel and just like what was that program like? What kinds of people did you meet? Yeah, and just give us a little bit more about that.
Salina is very cool because, well, there are a lot around South America, and also right now I think expanding to Europe a little bit more and to Asia, but there's a lot of hostels from them in South and Central America and North America. But what they really pride themselves in is like having a very, let's say, exclusive community of digital nomads there, which was obviously very cool for a long time, working together with their teams and meeting the people staying at the hostel from a more like inside perspective than just being like a guest, but staying for longer usually and really connecting. And that was really cool and definitely grateful for the opportunity. So how this definitely, not definitely, how this basically works is they have this Selena Film and Photo Residency program. So they're offering aspiring filmmakers and photographers to go to their hotels and hostels to stay there for free for a week or 2 weeks in exchange for you taking some photos of your experiences there, which is basically very cool. And yeah, I mean, as a starting point, as an entry point into making experiences in the industry, and learning how travel and hotel photography works, this is amazing because I mean, you're shooting a whole set of the entire hotel, of the rooms, of the experiences, of the food, of the people, all of this. So it's very diverse, and it makes you learn a lot. And it's very, yeah, it taught me a lot. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and also for the more professional approach I got through this. But at the end of the day, they're not paying you, so you will have to deliver, um, yeah, quite a lot in exchange for a week, usually a week of free stay, and then one meal like a breakfast is usually included. So this is this is if you want to take it seriously in the long run, your business as a creator, it won't pay your bills. So that is perfectly clear. But on the other hand, it's a great opportunity to get into the market, to gain some experiences, and to meet amazing people within the travel space. And yeah, so definitely grateful for them making this happen for me for so many times, actually. I think I was traveling for free for like 4 months with them. So it was quite a lot.
So cool.
We did together, but yeah, this was perfect for me, and I would recommend anybody to apply to the program and try to get the opportunity as well.
It seems like such a great starting point. And just, I mean, did you meet a lot of other travel creatives while you were there too?
Not really, to be honest. I met a couple of other digital nomads that were traveling a lot with Siena, and that were doing different exciting things, and some also in a creative space. But surprisingly, I didn't meet a lot of videographers and a lot of photographers, which also like kind of made me realize that even though the market always seems so oversaturated, and you see all of these amazing photos and videos and reels and whatever popping up everywhere on your social feed online, but in the end, it's probably not that many people doing it, and there's always more room on the market.
Yeah.
So don't be intimidated by feeling that there's so many already, and there's no room for you to grow your business, because there definitely is a lot of room, and there's an ever-growing demand of cool content. So take the leap if you're still doubting.
Yeah, that's so good to know, because I do that a lot. I'll be like, oh, there's just like everybody's doing this now, and then I have to realize that no, it's just those are just the people I follow on Instagram. Those are the people I'm surrounded with, and that's just because that's what I'm interested in. But yeah, you're right. Like it's still very small, and especially with filmmaking, it seems like it's such a new thing, like within the past 10 years that's coming into the market. So yeah, it's still very new. That's good to, it's a good reminder, I guess.
And you also have to think about how just in terms of the filmmaking side, there's also, of course, like we were talking about the brand side. And now in the digital age, and as more and more people are now starting businesses because the stakes are so low in terms of like investment. So there's so many more businesses popping up that are needing filmmakers or wanting to work with filmmakers. Like, yes, there's so many more filmmakers, but there's so many more businesses as well. And also just more, I would say, like consumers or people that are wanting to watch your content, more people, downloading Instagram and really being engaged with it, or, wanting this type of content. And I think that's also an important thing to know.
Yeah, like there's an ever-growing demand of content, and every new business, as you just said, there's so many businesses popping up everywhere, and every single one of these business needs to somehow communicate their vision and their products and their values and who they are, what they do, whatever. And they need videographers for this, and they need photographers for this, and they can use social media to communicate that vision. And that is where you come into play and be like, hey, look, I do social media content, I do photos, I do reels, and we can make this happen. And there's your entry point. Everybody is always looking for more content. and yeah, that is so, it's so insane, because like attention is the number one currency in the online world, and attention is generated through media and through something visual. And if you can use that as your main point of selling also, that you're like giving attention to that brand or to that product or to that campaign, with your visuals and with your work, this will open up so many doors, and then everything is definitely possible. Exactly as you said, Mary. Like, it's so cool how many businesses are popping up there, and that gives so much opportunity to the creative space to fulfill their dreams of being a creative.
Yeah, and along with that, it's a new field, so that's why there's so much uncertainty and worry that, oh my gosh, there's already so many people. But I mean, any other contractor, like if you're I don't know, you work on houses, or you're like electrician, for example. Think about the amount of electricians there are in the world, but they only need a few clients and a few people to keep them able to like stay in business. You know what I mean? So if there was only a few electricians, it doesn't really make much of a difference that it's online now. It's just now you really are able to grasp the amount of people that are doing it. But there's electricians all over every community, and they all still find business and they find clients. And it's the same concept, I think, in terms of the creative world. It's just a new concept, so it's a little bit more scary, and you don't feel like you have a safety net because everyone's figuring it out for the first time.
That's a very good example. Love it.
Yeah, that's good to remember for sure.
I don't know why, but the first thing that came to mind was a beekeeper. I was like, Mary, you can't say beekeeper.
Let's go for the beekeeper then.
I love that.
Yeah, beekeepers everywhere. You can say it in a David Attenborough voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was good at impressions, because I would love to just be able to speak like him. I remember in our previous conversation, you were talking about your passion for ecotourism, and how there's a lack of awareness and just ignorance in this field for people that love to travel. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I feel like I definitely can fall more into that category. I'm aware, but I'm not at the level yet where I need to be. Could you share with the audience about your experience studying the impact that tourism has on the communities you visited, and what we can do to help them, like make a more positive impact on their community, and with our our footprint and everything? Would you just mind sharing some of your thoughts and what you've learned?
For sure. I'm super thankful that you bring up the topic, because that really means a lot to me. And yeah, so okay, so how do I start? There's a lot to say in this. So I think number one is that people don't even know what ecotourism is most of the time. They think ecotourism is like, I've literally had a conversation last week with a friend that is also an influencer in that space, and she said that people come up to her and be like, "What the hell is ecotourism? Like, is it staying in an eco lodge? Probably." And is it? And she was explaining, no, ecotourism can be so many different things. Ecotourism can be having an authentic experience within a local community, where you stay for over a night at the local house and you cook with their family and you get to really know them. Ecotourism can also be simply going out for hikes in nature. That is ecotourism. When you travel to a place to go on a hike and do nothing else other than enjoying nature, it's ecotourism. It's a part of it, and there's so many different angles and so many different sides. So yeah, I think I would, for myself, I usually summarize this whole topic and theme with more responsible exploration, because my area of, let's say, interest and knowledge is also more, as I said earlier, more focused on human stories and meeting people. And I think responsible is a good word for that, because there's, for me, it's a lot about respect, and it's a lot about knowing, making your research, taking a step back to be aware where you're actually going, and be conscious about the impact of tourism on that community, and what it is right now, and what footprint you want to leave there. And so this is something that can make a huge difference, because I think within more touristy places, the impact of tourism is huge, because the dependency on the local community is huge. There's a lot of money in tourism, and that money changes places, and eventually maybe even the place that people, or the experience that people go to that place for, is changed so much by tourism and this whole infrastructure that it ends up not existing anymore. So, for example, this one place is really famous for being so remote. But when it's famous for being remote and more people go there, it's not remote anymore. So there's the impact on tourism, and there you have different opportunities of either supporting that or finding an angle that raises awareness about this, maybe with the photos you're going to take, or with the stories you share with your friends and family, or online afterwards, or the way of exploring that you're going to go on there. Are you going to leave your trash behind, or are you going to take it with you, or are you going to see those local families and actually engage with them, or are you just staying within your hotel? Those kind of things all make a difference, and it all depends on the way of exploring, like the way you want to explore. And when you're being conscious and responsible about it, about your responsibility as a traveler on that local community, that already can make such a big difference, I believe. And that's like my take on it. I don't know if that answers your question. Let me know if there's anything.
So much wisdom and so many things that people don't consider. It's beautiful that you are educating these people on this, because it's a topic that is not talked about enough, and also no one's doing like any harm intentionally by just going to those places like Amalfi Coast, for example. I've been there as well, and just staying in the fancy hotels and eating the elaborate meals. But that's an example in my head I think of exactly what you said. It's just it loses like what even is the place anymore? It's just a tourist spot. It's just so important for you to like educate these people that don't travel a lot, because you don't realize it until someone tells you.
Yeah, 100%. Like traveling is also hugely about the choice you make how you want to travel, and when people learn about alternative ways of doing things, I'm sure that there will be a huge demand growing for maybe the more authentic adventure and the more sustainable adventure, and a more impactful way of traveling and of making also experiences for yourself. So I think people are looking for this. They just sometimes maybe don't know enough about it. And like, for example, a great opportunity to be aware is also which hotel are you going to go in? Are you going to go in one of those big ones, international chains that you're going to pay a lot for your hotel, but you know that nothing of the money you pay for the hotel is going to stay within the place you're visiting. Nothing is going to get back into the local community. So there are for sure also very beautiful hotels or lodges or luxury amenities to get with a stay at a smaller place that is run by a local family or by a local company. And that way you can ensure that the money you invest stays within the local community. And that is also such a big way, an opportunity of making an impact. When you travel to that place and you support this kind of tourism that exists now, that is destroying the place, you're going to end up traveling to something and for something that doesn't even exist anymore. And with your travel experience through that, you will not be satisfied. And that's not the point of traveling, right? When you're just being sold a dream and you experience a completely different reality. So why not be more mindful about our decisions in that, and hopefully ensure that also in the next few years or in the next generations we can still enjoy these amazing places the way we do right now.
Yeah, that's very well said. I think that's such a great goal to have with your travels, because like you said, there's just so much little things you can do. Just the more you show the culture that you're interested in their lifestyle, like just by trying to speak their language or supporting a local business rather than just going to the tourist shops on the main street, or supporting the local or trying the local food and showing interest, asking them what's in it, the more like they're going to want you back too. And the more that they're going to be open to people from all over the world coming to visit them and teaching other people about their culture as well. So I think just overall, like that's just such a good goal to have, because it makes the world better.
Yeah, it's such a big impact. Like there's so much money in tourism. There's so much money people spend on their travels. And if that money is spent right, it will make such a big, big difference. And yeah, that is why education about how to spend that money right and what you can do is so important.
Yeah. Yep. And I think you just get a lot more fulfillment out of knowing that your money is going to a local business, a small business, that you're actually helping them succeed rather than just throwing more money into like a big Marriott or something, big hotel.
Agreed, 100%.
Do you think there is anything like just like a biggest lesson or takeaway that you've had from either a person or a place, like a favorite place you've been, anything in specific that you'd like to share?
Okay, so there's something that I wrote down a couple weeks ago on a trip, and I think that really sums up this question perfectly. And it says that we would evolve so much faster if we took the time to know each other better. And with that, I basically want to say, if you're respectful, if you show curiosity, and then most importantly, first and foremost, if you help each other out, if you give first before you ask, you're going to have such a more impactful and life-changing experience. And that's what I always try to keep in mind doing traveling. And that has helped me a lot to find my purpose in this and find fulfillment in the stories I tell. And I would say like, I'm not perfect, and I still have a long way to go of getting where I want to be. And I also did certainly a lot of things wrong, but I think this is one of the main lessons I learned over the course of especially this year. If we we're developing faster, we're getting further together if we took the time to know each other better.
Yes, that was very, very well said.
Those things, further together, faster alone, maybe that's not even true. I think you're getting further and faster together, and it's so much more fun.
Yeah.
And you learn so much more things from it. And how cool is it to have people all over the world to get back to, and you have stories to tell from all over the world about the people you met there, and learn about all these customs. It just opens your mind so much, and it will change you as a person. But that is also beautiful, because with that, coming back to your home place, with that energy and sharing your experience about with your friends and family, it may also spark some curiosity and some inspiration, and they might also want to go outside of their comfort zone and to go see a place in a different way. And if that's if that can help others encourage this, then I'm more than happy. Or even just one person.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
This is one of my main goals also in the storytelling. There's so much negativity and confusion in the world about what's going on, and just trying to change the narrative into something positive, into trying to rather inspire rather than tear apart, and say something with a positive message, and unifying human message is so important. And if we can be conscious about it and take our part in changing the narrative, then this is, I believe, a good thing, an encouraging thing. And seeing so many people trying to do this is also amazing. Like, that can have such an impact, or it has such an impact.
Yeah, totally agree. And it's really cool to see you and a lot of other creators making this more of a goal, just to connect directly with people and cultures and share their like actual true experiences of travel with the world. Like, that's such a noble goal. So yeah, really, really happy you got on here with us today to share. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and also thank you so much for giving the voice. And it just means a lot that you're on the same page, and there's so much more to come for you two guys as well. I'm super excited where you're heading with your podcast, what other amazing people you're gonna have on here, and I'll definitely tune in and listen to this.
Thank you so much, Simon. You've been so wonderful, so inspiring, doing so much good in the world, and it's so refreshing and just so beautiful. And thanks for encouraging everyone to find their passion and do good in the world with it.
Likewise, thank you so much.
And lastly, where can people find you if they're interested in your work? And where is the best place for people to connect with you?
First of all, I'm always super open to answer any sort of questions, and I'd love to help out with anything regarding business or travel questions or photography and content creation questions. So never hesitate to come up to me. And usually the best way to do this is either through Instagram or via mail. And I believe you gotta drop the links down below in the post here or below the podcast. And yeah, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer, and I'll be doing that super quickly. So don't worry.
Perfect. Well, we're so excited. And thank you again, Simon. It's been such a pleasure. And we look forward to having you again, of course. And good luck with your rest of your projects and trip to Africa.